Warzone has just received its first gun balancing update, and we are just a week and a few days into the game. Now, guys, this is actually extremely huge because Call of Duty is normally never on top of these kinds of things, so being able to see that they're taking action within the first few days of the game being out with these extremely broken guns like the DG, the MTZ, and the Bass B, like, it's so exciting to me because it just shows me that, like, we're potentially in for a very good year. Now, for some things like this, I don't like to always get my hopes up. I'm a big Call of Duty fan, and I always will play it regardless, but I'm very excited because I feel like this is a really big step in the right direction. The fact that, like, we're just barely getting into the game and we're just barely finding out that these metas are broken and they're already making these updates, I think that's a pretty big freaking W. So guys, this is really important to know. So going into this patch notes, we have a few that are still really broken, and then we have some that are pretty nerfed into the ground from my understanding. So I'm going to be reading out the patch notes for some of these guns, and then I'm kind of just going to be explaining my opinions on it just as we go. So for the first one is the DG, which is the burst assault rifle that you're probably getting bursted across the map with, because that gun was absolutely ridiculous. All they did was reduce the maximum damage down to from 40 to 32, which is a pretty big freaking nerf. I honestly don't think, I haven't tried this out, and I've only tried out 2 of the guns, but I think that this gun specifically is going to be nerfed into the ground. Now, the FR556 went from 43 max damage to 35, which I also think this one could be a little bit more viable, but for the most part, I think burst guns are going to be out of the meta. Then we're going to have the Bass B. Now, the minimum and maximum damage got nerfed on this one. The maximum went from 39 to 35, and then the minimum went from 27 to 25. Now, this gun is still pretty freaking good. I streamed 1 hour into the update because I was just like the way that my stream lands. And I ended up like trying this gun out, and I was still killing pretty quickly. It definitely does not kill as fast. And for the most part, in a lot of these gunfights, I was struggling to kill the people really quick with this gun. But for the most part, it felt pretty good, and it felt like it still could be viable, or you could create a class that would be very viable. Now, both of the akimbo pistols, actually all 3 of the akimbo pistols got nerfed. We have the core 45 going from 45 maximum damage to 30, then the Renettis going from the 33 to 22, and a 1.4 headshot multiplier to a 1.2. Now, the Renettis were absolutely ridiculous, so I'm very excited for that one. But I could see these potentially still being good. Again, I would kind of have to try this one. Maybe the Renettis would be still good. I mean, the maximum damage for the core is still at 30, so that could be pretty high. I would definitely like to try that one out still. Now, for the marksman rifles, we have the DM56 going from a 50 maximum damage to 41 minimum damage, from 39 to 37. This gun didn't really kill quick for me, at least whenever I tried it. It could have been the class setup that I had, and now I don't feel like it's going to kill quick at all. So the enforcer went from a 2.2 headshot multiplier to a 1.8. The interceptor, which I'm pretty pissed about, only went down from a headshot multiplier of 2 to a 1.5. Now, guys, this is a big deal because this gun is still extremely viable. I mean, I quite literally tried it just the first game on, because that's what I tend to do in Call of Duty updates. I'll use the guns that they nerf just to see how nerfed they are, because sometimes they still end up being meta, and this is the case, I think, with this one. I still 4-shotted somebody across the map, and I think it was like a 3-shot with a headshot. So I definitely would try this one out if you guys want to get sweaty again. But I hope that they make another change to this one. But I'm still excited because, you know, at least they're trying, you know, like at least they're trying, you know. So then the tier akimbo pistols went down from 120 maximum damage down to 70. And then finally, the last 2, the Haymaker shotgun went from 52 maximum damage to 36. And then the Fennec, for some reason, got nerfed a lot. They nerfed it from 25 maximum damage to 22. And then the headshot multiplier from 1.35 to 1.25. And then the lower torso multiplier from 1.1 to 1. Now, I don't really know why they did the Fennec. I can understand the Haymaker. That was pretty broken. The Fennec was a good gun for sure. I didn't think that it was the meta, but my assumption is that they just don't want people using the Modern Warfare 2 weapons. Like, honestly, at all. Like, I think that they want them to be using the new guns, the new submachine guns, so that they can honestly probably sell you skins and such too. So that's my assumption with that. But for the most part, I just kind of want to talk about this entire gun balancing nerf. So I'm really excited because a lot of these guns that were really overpowered definitely got a damage reduction. Like, all of them got damage reduction, besides for some reason the interceptor, which will still be very overpowered. And because of that, we're not going to be getting killed as quick. However, I still think that there needs to be something that is adjusted to the time to kill, because we're still going to be able to build out guns that are killing just as quick as the ones that we're currently using. But there's time now, we're going to have time to kind of try out new things and try to find which one is good. So let's just talk about potential metas. I think that the Pullman Yacht LMG is probably going to be the meta for this first season. I already saw a few people using it, but that gun just has an extremely fast time to kill, and it's also like an LMG where like you're able to kind of do it all with that. Even though it is pretty heavy, for the most part, you're going to be able to just lug that thing around, just gun everybody close range and far range. And then I think that the other meta is probably going to be using a submachine gun on your back, because I think that since they did not nerf any of the submachine guns, some of them were still broken, like the Striker, not the Striker 9, but the Striker, and then also the Swarm. I think that if you're going to be pairing those with an LMG, I think that will be a really good place to start. But for the most part, guys, that's been the video. I'm just kind of breaking down a little bit of the patch notes and also just giving you a little bit of an opinion. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys like the content. I'll catch you guys in the next video.